Hey, GM, everyone. I got a great show for you today. Got about 45 minutes or an hour with Honk Diddley. Honk's a friend of the show. He's been on a couple times. We're going to go over some prompts. We're going to go over some tweets. We're going to make some Agora art, and we're going to have some fun here with Honk. We're going to get started right after this.
Sizzle reel. To have a show where people can kind of watch and understand what the whole process is, I think would be super valuable.
Nouns is designed for permissionless creativity. You should just start doing stuff.
Oh my God, the deadline is in 9 minutes.
Do these live interviews.
That's actually really a really good question.
There are really very few yellows that are usable.
Larry King
Stream directly to Twitter.
It's very funny to me that Will Price was in the intro.
Easier to stumble upon.
Ethereum is a name that describes a particular network.
Playing nouns like a game.
How well you know your onions.
Oh, I'm so bad at this.
A very fun, cool example of what's possible here.
Submitted.
Watching you work in Figma is very enjoyable in itself.
Hey, Honk, GM, how are you?
Dude, I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're recording this kind of early in the morning, so I figured we'd have a little bit of fun. So you've been on the pod before. You're at Honk Diddley. Disturbingly, I think your ENS expired. So I don't know what you're going to do about that, but I guess Twitter's the best place to follow you.
Yeah, I do like key rotation on a regular basis and rotated my keys. And so things kind of just get left behind, and I legitimately just forgot about the ENS. And so, like, if somebody wants to take that, go for it. It had a name and time and a place, and now I have it on Twitter, which, most people can find me, as well as Discord. So if somebody wants the ENS, if it's valuable to them, they can go for it. They can be the next knife-wielding sponge, my appointee, or what's the word, protege.
That's big news. So you're going to be shifting identities.
I did in a cryptographic sense. And maybe I'll change this to something else. I really like Honk Diddley because it sounds dirty and it also sounds childish. And it was just a random thing that I come up with, and so I thought it was pretty chill.
Interesting. We're going to stay tuned for your next identity. Wow. I feel like we're breaking news here at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday. But all right, let's jump into this. I was doing some research for this show, and what I noticed is your noun 280, is it 247?
I think it's 248.
248. So you've got a shirt color underneath this beige, and then your accessory is beige. So you're actually sort of wearing two shirts, and I kind of want to quiz you if you know which color shirt you're wearing underneath that beige accessory.
I'm gonna say light baby blue.
Light baby blue. That is actually incorrect. You're actually red pinkish underneath.
What?
Yeah.
What? How is my accessory an entire shirt? That's not an accessory.
Well, and what's with the spelling here?
I want to speak to the manager.
Doesn't beige have an I?
Yeah, it does have. That's beggy. That's not even beige. It's baggy.
Yeah.
Beeg. Beeg? Isn't that a porn site, Beeg? Man.
Man.
Really falling apart. Oy vey.
Yeah. But I've got that same red pinkish shirt, so we're kind of like wearing matching shirts underneath, although you cover it up.
Yeah, I'm too insecure in my I don't know, sponge-ulinity. I have to hide any sort of like vibrant colors.
Spongulinity. So is there like a toxic form of spongulinity?
You know, I like have heard toxic masculinity, and I thought that it would be funny if we could, as like, I don't know, Reddit or 4chan or whatever, get that changed to ego-testicle. I thought that'd be pretty funny. No, ego-testicle, because it's like toxic masculinity.
Okay.
I think that would probably provide some satire to the whole matter.
Hey, so actually, more serious note, you mentioned key rotation, and so I wonder, for those who are kind of interested in that, obviously want to take security seriously, would you recommend any resources for anyone to read about? Hey, how could they get their key rotation up to honk standards? What's a good kind of intro resource for someone maybe newer to crypto?
I mean, legitimately, like if you were trying to do the stuff that I do, you wouldn't. It would be very bad for you. Likely, you'd probably screw something up, and it's very long. The process that I recommend for people is legitimately like get a Trezor or a Ledger or a Cold Card or any of those things, and play around with it. Send some or really, you should get two things, and get a minimum sort of balance going in them, and just send transactions between them, so that way you get familiar with it, that sort of thing, and go through the recovery process a few times. And then whenever like you're really, really ready to like actually like go full like custody where you're taking on all the responsibility. So always have a backup. And like if you're gonna use Trezor or like Ledger or Cold Card or whatever you're using, get the same device, double it up, and whenever you are creating your new sort of account, never input any of the keywords into the computer, do it through the device. And whenever you're storing a backup, do it on a device which has never been connected to the internet, or sorry, which is not connected to the internet or doesn't have the capacity to connect to the internet. And take the file that you're storing your private key or your mnemonic or seed or whatever, or cipher and salt on, and then encrypt it. For most people, that'll just be your mnemonic. And then export it to a USB after it's been encrypted. So don't connect to the USB until you've encrypted it on the device. Then connect the USB, take it out, and then you can put it on a computer or whatever. Use a very strong password that you haven't used anywhere else. But like run through some crash like sort of tests with yourself, because again, like this is something that if it is of great value, you should again not be using that password anywhere else. And you need to go through, well, what happens in the case that I lose my Trezor or I need to restore or something like that, and I need to do it from my backup. And so being able to access those copies, once you have the encrypted thing on a USB, you can put it on another computer. And as long as it's encrypted, there are a lot of things that very paranoid people will point out, caveats, etc. But this is for, a reasonable degree of security for your average Joe. So that's kind of that's how I like, try and get people up to speed on that.
Awesome. Okay. And do your own research. Don't trust a panda or a sponge on a stream. Check all the stuff, take responsibility, et cetera, et cetera. But thank you, Honk. Awesome. Let's get into it. Last time you were here was during this Prop 214. It had, I think, just gone on chain. You crushed it, man. 190 to 6. Mm-hmm. How does that feel to have that kind of validation from Nouns, the DAO?
It feels fine. I am a little perturbed at the lack of sort of sharing or engagement from the nouns community. You know, it really the stuff that I've been working on, which is the AI Playground, has gotten an immense amount of love and shares and interest from the OPEPN community. And like, there hasn't been so much going on with nouns on it. Like, and it's really, you know, extending it's cool. I get to work on cool things. I love that. But it is really, you know, it's upsetting that, you know, nouns put a lot of, you know, faith and money into this, and it is getting, you know, a good amount of usage, but it's just that it's not really that much from nouns. And you know, so we're going to continue getting in other communities, that sort of thing. It's just frustrating because it has a lot of value. People are really enjoying it. And those who get it, you know, they get it. But it's, you know, it's weird that the community isn't more supportive of, like, in terms of like retweeting or anything like that, or talking about it, or, you know, I'm always out here working out in the open. I'm a big proponent of that, and just getting people's feedback. And it's not the nouns community that's really, you know, other than like basically Last Punk 999 and Seneca chiming in every so often. Everybody else is basically dead silent. So that's a little. I mean, like, well, there are always people like Big Shot and Joshua who are always like good sports, but by and large, you know, for a community of a few hundred people, it's, you know, pretty silent.
Well, why don't we go to a demo then? Because I want to use it for this kind of project, this kind of joke thing I've been working on.
Sure.
Yeah, let's get into some demos then. All right, so for Hack Week, I created this voter persona called Carnegie Nounsworth, and basically 3 parts. You know, it's hip rose glasses, so kind of forward-looking, optimistic. And then Carnegie's also an ETH maxi and an infinite gamer. You know, really kind of embraces sort of the infinite nature of nouns, the open kind of MMORPG style, you know, social construct that is nouns. And so I made this Agora profile, and, you know, I did this kind of like infographic, but I figured, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I had something like a statue in the style of Carnegie Nounsworth, or something sort of august. Can you help me make something?
Yeah, sure. I can definitely try it. Like, I am just the you know, I'm the, what do you call it? I'm the builder, so I'm not really this artist, but yeah, so what's your, you want to have something that looks like a statue?
Well, I figured I'd do kind of a couple styles, but one of them is like, yeah, let's do like see if we can make some kind of statue.
Yeah.
But like a political leader, you know, these are kind of older, but I was thinking like, you know, an Abraham Lincoln statue or something kind of a little more modern. What do you think?
Yeah, we can definitely try it.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
So, there are a few things that you can do with this, but what people have really been having a fun time with is basically the idea of like maintaining the geometry and like outlines of the thing, of the subject in frame, and kind of riffing off of it. That's what's been obviously really huge with the OPEPN community, as well as, you know, you'll see stuff with Noggles. But if you go to the Nouns AI website, I can kind of like, you know, give you an idea here. So if you go to edit an image and drop in your Carnegie Nounsworth, And then for prompt, you could do marble. I don't know what sort of style was marble, like Michelangelo statue, Roman. And Michelangelo is Maichel. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, try that.
All right.
Now keep in mind, I am again the. Okay, so it really took on the pixel art, but you can see there that like that first thing is marble and it totally maintained it. I think if you go to negative prompt, we might want to make it a bit smoother. So I would put like in there like blocks, comma, like Legos. No, like Legos. Like I'm just thinking of like how do we or like quote or like pixels too, maybe. And maybe make strength a little lower, actually, like 25.
Okay, so I've wondered about this strength tab. What does this strength relate to?
It relates to how closely you adhere to the outlines. Or how big the outlines are. I made this like really quickly and I actually haven't looked back. But you know, just click on get images and I'm pretty confident that it has to do with how much it basically or like how much detail it gives to the outlines. There's going to be like little info buttons next to each of these soon, which will give you that information. So this might take a little bit longer. It just all depends on how many people are using the platform at the time. Yeah, so now you're seeing. Oh, that's kind of cool. There's like a little bust there.
And do you see how it kept the ETH accessory?
Yeah. There it just made it the I don't know what you call that, the base of the bust. And so like here you can see that it's a little less blocky, but I mean like it will maintain the geometry. So that's kind of like what people have really enjoyed. And you can click on any of these and like continue to riff off of it as well. And if you like take this strength to like what do you call it? Like 75, I imagine that it'll be a lot more like there'll probably be a lot more lines. Maybe not.
And I changed it to wood in here or oak.
Yeah. If you double click on one, it'll make all of them. Yeah. It'll make all of them you know, no longer like faded. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so actually let's go back to marble statue. Yeah, the strength slider and the negative prompt, I haven't really known what those do. So I haven't messed with those so much.
I think here if you take it to 100. I mean like I provided that and it has to do with the outlines. I just don't recall if it makes the outlines thicker or if it gives you more outlines. And I think that it makes the outlines thicker is what I'm seeing here. You need to remove that AE. Yeah, there you go. So I think probably for this one, you want strength to be lower if you want something that is actually, I don't know. It's kind of up to your own artistic style. But I mean, like you will have like those thick lines. So really what it is how thick do you want the lines in here? And like you probably don't want them too thick.
What if so part of Carnegie's identity is he's from the Carnegie Deli. So what if I want to kind of maintain the sandwich? Can I
what do you mean maintain the sandwich?
I don't know. I just make it more sandwichy.
So it'll only like it'll maintain again the geometry of this, and so like it's it's a pixel like thing. If you what I think you probably want to do is get out of edit image with outlines. So click on that, and then do edit image with oh, that's actually kind of cool up there. But like go to edit image with prompts. And then I would say a realistic or a man wearing goggles with a hamburger for a head. Oh yeah, exactly. I would say a Carnegie Deli sandwich, because actually I think that from the Carnegie Deli is applying to the man there. Yeah, so get rid of from the there you go. So let's see what that gives us. Probably pretty interesting. Yeah, there you go. It's pretty dope. So now you can start to like, get to something. So if you take strength down to like 50, you'll have something which is more like your original. And then you can also do iterative. So go down. So get rid of that and just do another enhanced prompt. And let's scroll down, and do apply edits gradually, and try that. And we'll probably need to up this to 65. But so what this will do is it will just like slowly kind of riff on that again and again and again. And I don't think the strength is actually good enough to where you'll really see anything. Oh no, since sometimes it diverges and like you get something really weird. But if you just go ahead and put strength to 65, there are just people online that are using it right now. Oh, what is happening to this guy? He's got what's it called? Vitiligo. Yeah, so
I loved how it turned basically the ETH into sort of a tie.
Yeah.
You see how this is a tie, and then this is kind of like it's a metal. It's like a metal being pinned.
Yeah. So I mean, like, actually, you can remove the apply edits gradually, just because that takes a little bit longer, because it's 4 requests versus just 1. And I think those are loading now at the top of the feed on the right. So. And at any time, you can also click on one of these and begin editing it, and so it becomes like an iterative process. And so if you see something where you're going in a direction that you like, and also the seed automatically refreshes, so you don't need to click on that each time.
Oh, that's new.
And so like if you see one that you like, and you're like, okay, well I kind of want to go in this direction, or like here, scroll up to edit with instructions. And say, make this into a realistic photo. I don't actually know how this will do. I have no clue.
And just to kind of pause and recap, when I did the enhanced prompt, that was a big unlock that I learned from Moon. That I think I was never using it, but now I use it almost every time. So for new users, if you don't know what to do, I highly recommend enhancing your prompt.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, back to edit with instructions. Make this into a realistic photo of a statue. Let's try that. I like this. Okay, I think this is my favorite. I like how it's like the bottom half is Roman and then the sandwich. Okay, so how can I grab this one if I do?
Type on edit selected image at the bottom.
Edit selected image. All
No,
right. Okay, so how can we iterate on this? What if I want to get rid of this top thing?
So
or what if
that-
I want to turn this into an olive because the sandwich has an olive?
So I'm working on being able to provide more granular control where basically whenever you select an image, you get a canvas and you can say on specific parts like remove this or like
Oh,
do this or do that. But that's ongoing stuff and it's highly experimental. However, it's pretty dope. And it's very fun.
That's going to be sick. So I can just like do a lasso tool here around this person and say change this to an olive.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So I did add an olive on top, and I'm that gave me too many olives. So maybe let's see, what can I do? And small olive.
Wait. You see, that's like vague. Like, oh well, there's an olive on top on the first one.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. This isn't bad.
Yeah. It's
Is there a way to retain color? Change color. This probably won't work, but just for shits.
Yeah, I don't think it knows what you're saying. I would say add small olive or replace statue with olive. Replace yeah, I would say replace statue with yeah. So we'll see what that does. Well,
this is kind of like an olive person.
Yeah. I don't
There's an olive that this person's holding.
Yeah. I'm not 100% certain on that. But
can I say like remove person on top? Would that work?
Maybe.
Oh wow. I kind of like this one.
Yeah, so if you click on edit selected image on that one, then you can go to edit image using its outlines and then say, yeah, so you could probably do the same thing and see what you get.
Which thing?
Just click on get images with this that you have.
Okay, so we switched from instructions to outlines.
Yeah.
This feature set here has improved a lot because I've never really switched between so quickly. You've been working hard.
Yeah, it's fun. There'll be, as we continue iterating with users, we'll be getting better and better results. Well, it looks kind of more like a cracker, but maybe if you remove sandwich and I would just say Roman marble statue, or just marble statue. Just do marble statue. That's probably fine. And then I was gonna say, and then negative prompt, we could probably remove a few things too because we're not having blocks, Legos, or rectangles. Like I don't think that that's really an issue right now. And we could probably reduce the strength to like 40%.
How did you pick out 40% there? Is that just kind of a gut feeling?
Oh, that one's not bad. Just because again, like it has to do with the width of the outlines, and so I'm imagining that lowering that will provide for a nicer sort of statue look. And here we go. Like these are not bad. It looks starting to look more like a UFO. But
These look really good. And this one has an olive on top.
yeah.
All right.
The
So,
HQ will take a while.
but this heart button here saves it.
Yeah.
That's new. This used to be kind of buggy, but now I just click it and it says image saved.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So then is that in my recently favorited? No.
So recently, yeah, it is, but you have to refresh. And then when you refresh, you'll lose all your progress.
Oh, shit.
So, working on being able to have so recently favorite is public, but there will be a personal gallery and such. So if you click on recently favorited, like you'll probably see that thing pop up. You saved it 3 times, so there it is. And yeah, so this is something that I wanted to put out there that I thought would maybe help like the community like get a better idea for like, well, how were these things made? What sort of prompts are people using? However, all of these are snapshots of just one step, and a lot of things that are made on here take many, many steps. And so what I'm doing now is I'm going to be working on actually getting the entire like sort of workflow like to where you have like a history of each image and you can see the sort of revision history, if that makes sense, because I think
Incredible.
That's beneficial. So yeah,
Incredible. I'm what's amazing is you can kind of guess who's doing some of these, right?
yeah.
Wow. Stonehenge 999. Some of these are just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy with this Marvel statute Carnegie here.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this one here with the ETH, how it kind of disambiguated the ETH tetrahedron.
Yeah.
It has it underneath. That's amazing.
And if you notice, you can click on edit selected image and it takes you right back into the flow from any of these.
Huh. It's almost like this should be your home screen.
Yeah, I mean, like most people who come here, they really come immediately to edit. And there'll be a change insofar as, what, like everybody's going to have a different reason for coming to the site. Some are going to look for inspiration. Some already have an idea. Some want to start with nothing. At this point, most people are editing. Not as many people are creating. So yeah.
I had and you had posted on Twitter for feedback, and I had an idea I wanted to run by you real quick.
Yeah.
So Moon really got me on this enhance prompt where it kind of generates one of these things. What I was thinking is there a way for you to represent this and like do 4 of them at a time and give me like, instead of me just clicking a button to enhance prompt, like I click on a style I like?
Oh, yeah. So that's like prompt from image, which is where if you take an image that you like and then you drop it in here, it'll give you a prompt from it, and then it'll make things like it.
But see, I don't have to think about the image. I just click enhance prompt.
Yeah.
And it's like it does that for me.
Yeah.
So if I come here without an image, but like here's one. Let's do this Greg Rutkowski, and then let's do another enhanced prompt, and this will be cinematic.
Yeah.
And then let's do a third one, and then I'll show you. For
Oh,
reason, it
I
keeps
see.
going
I
back
see what you're
to
saying.
Greg Rutkowski.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's a lot of image generation. And I think that it's important for people to play along with it. I see what you're saying is just like, giving people more variations. That's not something that I'm currently focused on because most people are doing editing and such. And so like in the future, maybe. But I hear what you're saying is just like to get a feel for like all the realm of possibilities that exist. But simultaneously, like most people are already kind of doing this where they just kind of like, it's kind of like I'm feeling lucky, don't really know what I'm going to get, but I'm going to keep on clicking this. And I think that people will eventually like look and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, whenever these words are added, I start to see like this sort of style emerge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just it's so cool, the range of outputs, and I got to go back to this recently favorited, but you can really do anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of Nouns Esports I know has been getting in on it.
Yeah,
this is the
they have an
esports
ongoing
logo.
competition right now to basically riff on their logo.
Yeah, some of these are legitimately beautiful. Like this, I don't know why, this microscopic imagery here with these blues and these oranges.
Mm-hmm.
This is really nice. Cool. All right. So nounsai.wtf. I had a free account here. I logged in, but I don't even think you need an account, right? Can anyone use this?
Anybody can use it, but there are certain features that you need an account for.
And for someone who's maybe watching this, who wants to get a little bit more help, but maybe can't, like call you up on stream, would you suggest they head to your Discord, or what's the best place for someone who wants to learn a little bit more?
I mean, Jacob had a pretty good tutorial on YouTube on how to use Nouns AI, which is Twitter handle is JHEKUB. So Jacob spelled in like the most abhorrent way possible. But if you go and you look up his handle and you look up like Zoom and AI, you'll find it. And it's a really informative stream that kind of goes through part of his creative process. And he's made some really cool stuff.
Okay, let me find that. Sorry. How did you spell his name?
JHEKUB.
With the Pepin. Okay. And so is it this thing here? This AI workshop?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to retweet that right now and favorite that so you can find that. Oh, wow. 57 minutes. Awesome. I'm going to take a look at that. Oh, I wasn't sharing it. All right. All right, Honk. Let's go to kind of a quick hit round. I pulled up some of your tweets here, some things to sort of riff on. Oh, I know what I'm going to start with because this sort of blew my mind. You tweeted, this was a couple weeks ago, you were doing zooming in and zooming out.
Yeah.
And then you came to, let me see. You were trying to do a zoom in. Okay, no, here's the tweet. I got it. And someone said, do zoom out and reverse video.
Yeah.
That really blew my mind. I actually came to this thread to kind of say that, and then he had already said that. So can you kind of explain what it was you were trying to do, and then how zooming out and reversing the video kind of solved that?
So like basically what you're doing here is I'm trying to zoom in and I'm zooming in and it's trying to basically make up more and more details over time as you're getting closer and closer. But the thing is that there are only so many pixels and this thing can only create so much like new content with what I'm giving it. And so it's better whenever you have a lot of information and then you're just going and you're like, okay, we'll take this big frame and add like 1 pixel on the outside, and then keep doing that and doing that and doing that. It gives you much more sort of content to go off of, right? Versus you say, all right, well, I'm going to remove pixels, and then you get to add some in the center and then just like grow out from there. Because you're removing information and you're saying like, all right, now I need you to like create new information. And it's just that whatever and then on top of that, you're trying to blend. And so basically this thing falls into looking what is basically noise. So it becomes very, very filled with noise, and there isn't a lot of detail, and it all like kind of fades into one like purplish color. But if you are zooming out, you are adding, a good amount of information based on a lot of existing information, if that makes sense. And so you just do that and then you reverse it.
It really just kind of blew my mind how simple that is. How it's like you were trying to do this one thing, and really if you just kind of reversed it and zoomed out, you could kind of accomplish that, kind of the reverse method.
Yeah, and you can see some of the other ones that I've done that actually look fantastic. So, all the ones in this thread are not good, but there's other threads. I'm trying to remember what they are.
Yeah, I'm here for your threads where you talk about what you're building and what you're learning, and all the time I notice you're working on some new feature, and it feels like you're working on the frontier.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
Exciting, and also like there are a number of points where I just have no clue what's going to come out of these things. It's because there isn't necessarily a precedent for a number of these things. Like one of the things that I made is a notebook that is publicly available, open source, that sort of thing, and legitimately nobody had done it before. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting because it really does feel like, as a follower of yours on Twitter, feels like I'm kind of gliding on the frontier, and there's kind of new stuff that's happening and coming out. So it's really fun.
Yeah.
I picked out a bunch of tweets here from you. One is this. I gotta say, I know you're a Texan. I know you've got kind of a beef with California. I had never noticed that this bear on the flag does look sort of uncomfortable here.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
How did you find that?
I was looking into state flag histories, because obviously Texas is, got the best and most recognizable flag of all the states. So much so that we don't have to put our name on our flag to be like, oh yeah, this is the Texas flag. Everybody knows Lone Star State. It's very identifiable, beautiful flag, and we can, maybe at one point we'll continue to on with our plans to secede, and we will really be the one star. So, we'll see. And California, just like, I wanted to look into that, and I was like, wait, what's going on with this bear? Why does this bear look absolutely terrified? So I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's a tweet I was thinking of earlier. So you wrote that you were working on frame interpolation.
Yeah.
I have no idea what frame interpolation is.
It's just moving between two frames in a simple way. So like if you're like working on animation, and you're trying to, do like somebody moving their arm, it's just making sure that you have like seamless transitions between the frames. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just smoothing things out.
So is that just generating more images that are kind of micro changes?
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. I know you're a big fan of JFK, political history. I noticed you posted this.
I'm a big fan of JFK.
Or at least that speech, the Man on the Moon speech.
Oh yes, of course. Yes, indeed. He was very well spoken. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm a huge fan of him, but
Okay.
that was
Yeah.
a good speech.
All right, so big fan of his speech making. That's fair distinction there. But I noticed you posted this, "The Man in the Arena," his famous Theodore Roosevelt speech.
Yeah.
Any reason in particular that caused you to post this, or any personal history there that you want to get
Yeah,
at this point?
there's this dingus who goes by 0x hindsight and then announced down. He's just always critical, but never building. And it's like I appreciate critical thought, but also like, you know, what are you doing to contribute besides just criticize? It's lame. It's not. I'm always down for constructive criticism, but also just like if that's all that I'm ever hearing, I'm not gonna. I'm not. You're just complaining. You're just complaining all the time. It's not. It doesn't make you a fun person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shout out Aaron Schwartz.
Yeah.
I recognize this. Yeah. Shout out Aaron Schwartz. Epic. Iconic.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else. Yeah. Something I'm interested in is you just seem to ship so fast. You're just like, here's a bunch of features. And then you're like, on Monday, you're like, I shipped them. And I think that's something that a lot of builders are good at for a short period of time, and some kind of get a couple things out. But to me, you've got a real sort of consistency and relentlessness with shipping. And I wonder, how can you teach that? What would you say to a newer builder? How did you get that kind of relentlessness?
By actually building things that are valuable and not getting hung up on things that aren't. A lot of building is either you set yourself up for failure by not being thoughtful in the way that you built your foundation, or you're focusing on a lot of little minuscule details that your users won't actually care about. Like I shipped something, I will ship bugs in the code intentionally. Like one of the things that you saw was like negative prompts. And for edit with outlines and such, I shipped a bug that legitimately didn't allow you to update that to see if anybody was actually using it. Because like people they focus on how things look and this and that, and I want to focus on who's doing what. Are they like is this a valuable feature? If this were to disappear, would anybody care? And so like don't put too much time and thought into features. Like put something out there, and like if it's valuable, people will lean in and they'll be like, hey dude, like I really would appreciate like if this feature like which is working 50% of the time worked 100% of the time, or if like this was a bit more clear versus like you overthinking it in your own head. Like just get something basic out there, because chances are like again like you aren't in many cases the end user of what you're doing, and so let them tell you what they want and guide it versus you spending a lot of time building the thing that you think is perfect, but again you're not the target audience. So it's always constant user feedback. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a flywheel user feedback metaphor to be made there.
Yeah, like every feature that I'm making is not something that I am the author of. There are things that in terms of like I'm the one who's deciding like, yeah, this has to happen. There are some that I want to happen that I already have like set up. But there are other things that are taking precedence. And so those are the things that are getting built right now.
Yeah. All right, 2 more quick hits here. One is you claim in this tweet that you have to restrain yourself from putting Easter eggs on Nouns AI. But is anyone to actually believe that you haven't put Easter eggs on the site? I mean, come on.
I haven't yet. There are some things for myself that I think are funny that are on the back end, but legitimately nobody except for me can see those. But they will be coming, and they will be on the pro side of things. Well, actually, really, when there's a division and a tiering of accounts, that's when they'll be instantiated. And some people will be subjected to more Easter eggs, and some people will be subjected to less. It's important to like have a bit of panache with the way that you add these, because with an early on product, people might see an Easter egg and think that it's like a bug, but you have to make it known like intuitively that, oh, this is just like them having style and this is just the attitude. And so, in terms of what those manifest as, I have a number of ideas, and you just have to wait and see what they are.
How would Honk break Nouns AI? I remember you tried to break Agora by putting your Honk image into your voting reason.
Yeah.
How would a Honk attack his own product?
I'm not gonna say, but I have a number of measures which are already implemented to stop that. There are a number of security measures which were implemented over the past like few months, where there was like a lull in feature development. That was all back-end work, and there are a few more things that are coming out that that'll basically stop up any of the last holes.
Okay, and let that be an open challenge to any listeners. Okay, last thing here, 2 more minutes. Intelligence is legitimately pattern recognition. Is there a difference between intelligence and pattern matching, or is it literally the same thing?
Because I mean, like think about evolution. Like you can say that there's like quote unquote intelligent design or something like that, whatever you believe. But like the thing is that evolution goes and chooses the things that are most conducive to reproduce, and so it will, like, you might like look at something and be like, oh, that's clever or something like that, and it's like, no man, it just like there were so many different things that were tried, and the things that just worked or the things that kind of were remained, are the things that worked best. And that is what, and that's more or less how you solve any problem. You can brute force everything. Like this is why in like programming interviews, like there's like, okay, like here's, give me the brute force approach, and then do like an O of n squared and do an O of n log n, and then this and that, and then just do an O of n. And so like you start off with like the dumbest sort of like thing that you can move forward with, but the thing is that like if you can solve a problem with that, like, and just keep on, it doesn't matter the way in which you're doing it, if you're moving forward with it, like people will always talk about how did an eye like come to be, it's such an intricate piece of biology, etc. But it was just constant iteration. And there's also like spontaneous, I forget what the word is, but like basically a lot of different things can compound simultaneously to create something new. But I think that anybody who says anything different is just a silly goose, and they they think too highly of what intellect really is. So
yeah, and I mean, how would you characterize this period, last say year, in brute force ability for AI?
Well, I would, ChatGPT is effectively brute force. So yeah, I mean, like pretty huge. It really just comes down to the way in which you do the brute forcing, and whenever you have, the internet of data to kind of feed into a system, and you have like basically a bunch of virtual neurons to kind of be connected in a neural network and just like kind of ingest and understand all of it, you'll get some pretty crazy stuff, as we've seen.
Yep, more to come. Honk, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah.
For all the listeners here, you want to follow Honk and his red pinkish shirt. It's at Honk Diddley on Twitter. Honk, as always, really a pleasure, and we'll see you next time.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.